It's Sean. Talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all.
Man, they say every king gets tested, but what happens when the castle ain't built on bricks, but broken people? Today, in a silent courtroom, packed with cameras, lawyers, and long receipts, Sean Diddy Combs sat still, eyes low, shoulders heavy. Why? Because somebody just testified under oath that they were his slave. Not metaphorically, literally, a sex slave, as he called it.
What?
And not only that, the details, straight up sickening. Drugs, freak-offs, torture rooms, baby oil, blood-stained sheets.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie.
And a whole system designed to control, break, and silence people. And for the first time, it ain't just whispers. It's a full-blown federal case. And Diddy, he just broke down in court. Let's get into it. Peace and power, family. Welcome or welcome back to Panda Press. I'm P the Panda, and here we talk about what's going on in the world. Then we break it down, so maybe we all walk away a little smarter. And today, we got to talk about this Diddy trial, because it ain't just about celebrity gossip no more. This is federal, this is human, and this might be the case that cracks the whole damn industry. So let's start here. A man named Jonathan Audi just took the stand, and what he said left the courtroom silent. According to him, he was brought into Diddy's world as a sex worker, but what started as business turned into bondage.
I had a settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts.
He said he was used, controlled, directed like a puppet, and that Diddy made him perform sex while Diddy watched, sometimes with Cassie, sometimes alone. He said there was a torture room, his words, inside Diddy's mansion, a room built for pain. He said there were freak-offs, wild, drugged up, no rules orgies, where humiliation was the theme. And when the court read those words out loud, Diddy covered his face, folded. This the same man who been walking into court with crew neck sweaters, reading the Bible, looking all calm and clean.
At a point in time, he was flipping through a Bible, reading a Bible. And if you'll notice, he's wearing these crew neck sweaters, this light color, which I think is pretty smart as a defendant.
Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, wasn't this the dude who shot up a Trump hotel back in 2018? Yeah, that's him. Back then, folks called him crazy, said his Diddy claims were nonsense. Media tossed it out like tabloid trash. But now we got Cassie under oath backing him up. She said Audi was hired by Diddy multiple times, said she was there. Suddenly, this dude ain't looking so crazy. He looking like a missing puzzle piece. And that's when the prosecution pounced. They connected the dots, showed a timeline, framed it like a pattern, not a random freak show, not isolated abuse, a system. And that's the part that got real quiet in the room. You could feel it, people shifting in their seats, jury looking down, because when stories start to line up, even the wildest claims start to sound like truth. Hit that like and subscribe if you still with me. We got a lot more to break down, and I ain't letting this one slide under the radar. So let's talk about Cassie, because up until now, you might have heard her name thrown around in lawsuits and blog posts, but what she said in that courtroom, it hit different. She ain't just telling stories, she's laying out details, real ones. She confirmed Audi wasn't lying, said Diddy hired him multiple times, not for meetings, not for music, for sex.
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
She described the setup too, said there were entire rooms in his mansion built for what they called freak-offs. Not parties, not orgies, freak-offs. And according to her, they weren't just wild, they were violent, dirty, humiliating. She talked about being forced to participate during her period, said the sheets would be soaked with blood, said the rooms were stocked with baby oil, had to be reapplied every 5 minutes, said there were extra linens to handle all the bodily fluids, Glade, air fresheners to mask the stench. Like, bruh. Think about that. This ain't just some freaky celebrity sex night. This was planned, repeated, systemized, like somebody was running a business out of pain.
Well, remember, the state will have a closing argument to connect all the dots, but very clearly, what is being made out in this case is forcible and extortion.
Now this, where the prosecution locked in, they took Cassie's words and stacked them right on top of Audi's. Same details, same vibe, different witnesses, and suddenly the whole narrative shifted. What once sounded like a wild rant from a crazy ex and a mentally unstable shooter, now it's sounding like a pattern. They called it a criminal enterprise. Not just abuse, but sex trafficking across state lines, with victims too scared or too drugged to say no. The courtroom got cold, not literally, but emotionally. Reporters said jurors were looking away. Some couldn't even make eye contact with Cassie while she spoke. One described her talking about urine and humiliation like she was numb to it, like she had to be. And to be real, she probably did. Then out of nowhere, another voice joined the storm. Audi's ex-wife. She came forward and said her ex still fears Diddy to this day. Said whatever happened back then didn't just scar him physically, it wrecked him mentally. PTSD level damage. And that right there, that gave his story legs. Because now it's not just him talking, it's people around him echoing that pain. Diddy's lawyers tried to strike quick. They said Audi's unstable. Tried to tie him to the Trump hotel shooting again. Said he's just wilding to cover his own mess. They painted the picture of a mentally broken man chasing clout. But here's the thing, if he's broken, who broke him? And why is Cassie, with nothing to gain, telling the same exact story? Man, sometimes the truth echoes so loud, you can't call it coincidence. Look, it's one thing to hear about bad behavior. Celebs get caught slipping all the time. But this got layers. It's not just Diddy and his drama. It's the industry, the machine, the silence. And that silence is looking real guilty right now. So now we gotta talk about the videos. Because this whole case, it ain't just words anymore, it's footage. And the prosecution ain't holding back. They told the court they got nine videos of these freak-offs. Not no YouTube clips. We talking private recordings, real dark. Now the public don't get to see them. Media don't either. Only the jury gets access with privacy screens, so no one else in the courtroom catches even a glimpse. But based on what's been described, it's nasty. And more than that, it's strategic. See, Cassie said these encounters were filmed by Diddy himself, and not for the memories, for leverage. She claimed those tapes were used like blackmail, a silent threat over people's heads. Act up and the world gon' see what we did. You feel that? That's control. That's not consent. That's coercion. That's what builds a sex trafficking case. And just in case folks thought she was bluffing, she broke the whole thing down, step by step. First, she had to narrate everything, like a damn script. Then came the baby oil, then oral, then sex, sometimes with Diddy watching, sometimes with him jumping in, all of it on camera, sometimes with strangers, sometimes with escorts, every time with power. But hold up, the freak-off tapes ain't the only footage the jury seen. You remember that hotel clip from 2016? Diddy chasing Cassie down a hallway, throwing her to the ground, dragging her back to the room? That one made waves when CNN dropped it in 2024. Well, they played that in court again and again. And guess what? A hotel security guard testified. Said when he pulled up that night, Cassie was crying, saying she wanted to leave. And Diddy, straight-faced, said she ain't going nowhere. That's public proof of private control. Then came another curveball, male escorts. Yeah, the prosecution brought them too. One of them said he saw Diddy throw a liquor bottle at Cassie, heard him beat her behind closed doors. He said the whole thing messed him up so bad, he couldn't even perform no more. Developed erectile dysfunction from the trauma. Said he once saw Diddy drag Cassie by her hair from a computer chair all the way to the bedroom, screaming, crying. Man, that ain't no freak off. That's war behind closed doors. And it ain't just the sex, it's the drugs. They say Diddy wasn't just offering a little party fun. He was running a pharmacy, zoning people out, keeping them dazed, weak, obedient. Cassie said there were nights she was so out of it, she couldn't speak, let alone resist. You ever heard the term chemical leash? That's what it sounded like, a system designed to trap. But of course, Diddy's team had their rebuttal. They said Cassie was deep in the drugs by choice. Said Diddy was the one trying to stop her spiral, not cause it.
This is not a racketeering case, not sex trafficking. That is a domestic violence case. And it's a bad and despicable act. But it's not sex trafficking. It's not racketeering.
They saying he was the brakes, not the gas. But prosecutors clapped back, said Diddy was the plug, that he was the one introducing her to the drug world in the first place. That's not saving someone. That's setting them up. That's the thing with power. When you control the money, the drugs, the spotlight, you control the silence. And if these tapes and testimonies are real, then silence wasn't just a side effect, it was the goal. All right, now we gotta zoom out. Because this trial, it ain't just about one man, it's about a whole damn system. And the music industry, the one that crowned Diddy a mogul, is acting real quiet right now. too quiet. See, some folks already started distancing themselves. People online talking about how Nicki Minaj, for example, been pulling back from Diddy for years. No public shout-outs, no collaborations. Artists that used to be all over his parties, gone ghost. And it ain't cause they busy, it's cause they know. They been knowing, but they ain't saying nothing until the whole world started looking. And that silence, that's not innocence, that's fear or guilt or both. You ever notice how when the camera's off, these industry folks be wildin', but soon as the courtroom light hit, everybody forgets they were at the same parties, same houses, same private jets? Man, yeah, it's like the industry got amnesia on demand. Now let's bring it back to the courtroom, cause that room, it don't feel like no tabloid story no more. It feel like Judgment Day. Real tears, real silence, real tension. Diddy's mom been there. Janice Combs sitting tight, not moving. His sons too. But then on the other side, Cassie's husband pulled up, sat down, didn't say a word, just stared straight at Diddy. Like, I see you, that right there, no legal talk, no press release, just energy, raw and quiet. And let's not forget, the jury sees it all. They saw Cassie struggle to retell her trauma. They saw her break down describing urine, blood, and control. They saw witness after witness echo the same sick routine. Even a hotel guard, who ain't got no skin in the game, said she wanted to leave, he wouldn't let her. And then came the twist. Diddy's legal problems just leveled up. Prosecutors say this man been using inmate phones from 8 different dudes to make secret calls, 3-way connections, backdoor deals, trying to reach people who got subpoenas, trying to influence testimony. That ain't just shady, that's witness tampering. And when the judge heard that, game changed. He cut privileges, put the whole courtroom on notice, even found out that one of the jurors worked at the same detention center where Diddy's locked up. You can't make this up. Folks in the room even laughed for a second, like this can't be real, but it is. Now they say Diddy might have lied under oath too, swore he ain't talked to nobody, swore he was clean, but the call logs say otherwise. 58 calls in 4 days.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
One woman alone, Keena Harper, and over 100 total. They got the timestamps, they got the names, they got the motive. That's perjury, that's obstruction, that's straight up federal. So now, this ain't just about freak-offs and sex tapes, it's about manipulation. A man trying to twist the system, even from behind bars. And that's what's got this judge heated.
You gonna learn today.
He said it plain, this is a pattern of deception. Let me tell you something, man. This industry don't clean its own house. It builds kings off chaos, then throws them under the bus when the truth leaks. But here's the problem. There's always more victims than there are cameras. So when people finally speak, when the silence breaks, it don't just shake the room, it breaks the walls. All right, now here's where the stakes get nuclear. We're not just talking bad behavior anymore. The feds done slapped Diddy with the kind of charges that end careers and end freedom. Racketeering, sex trafficking, kidnapping, obstruction. This ain't no slap on the wrist. This is 15 to life type energy. And if everything holds up, it's curtains. So let's break this down. They ain't just saying Diddy did foul stuff. They're saying he built a criminal operation around it, that he used his wealth, his business, his fame to move people like pawns, flying escorts across state lines, drugging them, filming them, controlling them, and making sure they never spoke up. That's why it's a RICO case now. It ain't just about what he did, it's about the system he built to keep doing it over and over. By now, you've heard the names: Cassie, Jonathan Audi, Philippines, Adria English. Each one brought receipts. Each one told a piece of the same damn puzzle. Cassie, she gave the timeline, the footage, the trauma. Audi, the torture rooms. Phil Pines, Diddy's own assistant, said he was forced into sex to prove loyalty. Said he had to scrub the freak-off rooms after, delete the files, hide the drugs, keep it all quiet. Then Adria English came in with a whole different angle. Said she was groomed at Diddy's white parties. From 2004 to 2009, more drugs, more silence, same pattern. As if all that wasn't enough, now they saying Diddy lied under oath, tried to spin the judge, tried to act clean while secretly running phone calls through inmates and intermediaries, trying to coach witnesses, gaslight them. One prosecutor said he was trying to convince victims they engaged willingly. Bro, that's next level manipulation. And the judge, he ain't playing, revoked privileges, slammed the table on both defense and prosecution, told the whole courtroom, I'm watching all y'all. And then he referred the perjury situation to federal prosecutors. So now, on top of everything else, Diddy might catch a whole new charge for lying in court. Now here's something wild. Diddy's whole look in court, soft sweaters, light colors, Bible in his lap. Man looks like he's auditioning for a gospel brunch, not a federal trial. But don't get it twisted. The feds see through that. They ain't swayed by crew necks and scripture. They looking at patterns, calls, tapes, blood, bruises, and trauma. And what they see, it ain't spiritual, it's sinister. Even legal pit bulls like Nancy Grace chimed in. She said, this isn't just about sex, it's about control, about fear. Because when you got freak-off tapes, you don't need to say, don't talk. The tape does the talking. That's psychological warfare. That's blackmail. That's textbook extortion. And while we're here, let's keep it a buck. This man didn't move like this alone. Somebody made those arrangements. Somebody held the camera. Somebody stayed quiet. Fame don't make you safe. Power don't make you untouchable. And silence don't protect nobody but the abuser. We gotta stop confusing respecting privacy with ignoring abuse. Because every time we say that's just how the industry works, somebody else gets broken in silence. That's not culture, that's complicity. So now we're here, courtroom full of lawyers, victims coming out the shadows, the press circling like vultures. And Diddy, he ain't that untouchable icon no more. He's just another man in front of a judge with the walls closing in. Right now, he's facing decades. Not because of one accusation, but because of all of it. The patterns, the tapes, the witness tampering, the rooms, the control, the whole operation. Every time someone came forward, the industry called it messy. Now, it's federal. That's not gossip. That's the government saying, we see what you built, and it ends now. This jury ain't just listening to stories. They hearing trauma, blood, bruises, silence, tape. It's heavy, and the question ain't just, did he do it? It's, how long has this been allowed? How deep does this go? Who else knew? And what else is buried? You got celebs getting mentioned, some directly, some just through affiliation. Justin Bieber caught in an old clip with Diddy saying, we can't talk about what we're about to do for the next 48 hours.
And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
That resurfaced, so did the auction video where Diddy offers a night with him as a prize. Back then, that was funny. Now, it sounds like a red flag that's been flapping for a decade. Then there's Courtney Burgess, claims he got tapes, not just of Diddy, but of other celebrities. Some involving minors, some allegedly drugged out of their minds. Diddy fired back with a $50 million defamation suit. But you know what people say? When the money gets loud, sometimes it's all because the truth already whispered. Diddy's team, they struggling. They went from this is a love story to this is mutual freaky stuff to Cassie's not credible. But none of that explains the call logs, the footage, the breakdowns in court, the jury's faces when they hear it all. They losing grip while the prosecution building a timeline so tight you can't breathe through it. Opening statements already hit, testimonies stacking like dominoes, still more witnesses on deck. And the perjury case, that's now its own thing. Even if Diddy beats the trafficking charges, he might still sit for lying to the court. Either way, he's in deeper than most people realize. This ain't just a fall from grace. This is a whole legacy crumbling in real time. Let me say this though, real clear. Fame don't cleanse you, and power don't erase what people lived through. You can wear the cleanest sweaters, quote scriptures, drop charity checks, but the truth, it leaves bruises. And eventually, somebody gonna speak on it. What's wild is, this whole thing ain't even about Diddy no more. It's about a culture, a machine that'll throw you in the fire and expect you to stay quiet while it profits off your pain. Too many people been told to shut up, sign the NDA, take the money, and forget it ever happened. But silence don't bring peace. It just delays the storm. And now, that storm's here. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And that's the game for today. You can stay blind or pay attention. I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.